Welcome back to the Ready Room Podcast. I'm your host, Josh, with my friend Skim Milk, and today we're talking about the reliability of the AR-15. Hope you enjoy. All right, the AR-15, which we hear varying reports of reliability on, especially even now, despite the fact that it's been around since the 60s.
Yeah, I mean, it's been doing a lot of good things.
It's been around for forever.
Doing a lot of good things.
So today we just want to talk about, is it reliable? The answer is yes. Like, we're just going to skip past.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
It is reliable.
All right, roll the credits.
And we're going to talk about why. But first, guys, you know me, Josh, TBR Gunworks, and this is my buddy. I called him Skim Milk, but his name is Wesley.
My name is Wesley. Yeah, I work at Gun Counter. Big AR guy. Shoot a little bit of competition, and I'm kind of a kitchen table gunsmith.
Yeah, he just got into competition recently.
Yeah.
At first, it was like, I just want to see how I do.
Yeah.
And now it seems like you might have a little bit of the competitive bug in you.
You pick it up, start shooting it.
It's a lot of
fun. Get the itch.
It's a lot of fun. But hey, I know I haven't been getting the podcast out every month like I promised I would because I'm a failure. But I did do one better and get a co-host. So I'm kind of like I'm not as good as he could have done, but I'm here. I think you're just about as good as I could have done.
Okay. All right. Well, we're par for the course.
We're starting with me, so like it's not a huge, very high bar.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
So, all right, make sure you guys follow TBR Gunworks on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. By the way, guys, the last video we did took off. Really pleased with that. Really appreciate you guys listening and watching. Wesley is actually going to be in the next video as well.
Maybe the next couple. We have a few planned.
Probably the next couple.
No spoilers, but
no spoilers. But if you like the last one, you're definitely gonna like the next one. The last one was general purpose rifles, AR-15, and the next one will be similar. So I think you guys are gonna like that. So once again, thank you so much, Wesley. Do you have anywhere that you want them to follow you, or do you even care?
I don't care.
He doesn't care.
I don't care.
He's based. I like it.
Yep.
All right. So AR-15 reliability. So we hear a lot.
A lot.
At least I have definitely always heard a lot of nonsense, especially in the Army.
Yeah.
Like the FUD lore runs deep. Deep.
Especially if you go to Cabela's. Shout out to the guys the Gun Counter, Cabela's Gun Counter.
Gun counters at Cabela's or Bass Pro Academy.
But Cabela's is worse. They got wood.
Cabela's is worse.
Wood on the walls.
There's lots.
Lots of wood.
Wood means FUD apparently, but not if it's a military rifle.
Yeah. I mean, there's a sporterized military rifle.
Okay, yeah, then it's FUD.
It's FUD.
It's FUD again. FUD's complicated, guys. FUD is subjective.
Deep. It's not a surface level term.
It's very deep.
Yeah.
So like I've always heard, not correctly, but I've always heard, direct impingement is unreliable. Just a flat out statement.
I mean, that's I've heard that as well. I think probably everybody's heard that.
Yeah, I think anyone who's ever messed with an AR-15 has heard that.
But also like that the AK-47 and AKM platform of rifles can run through anything.
Oh yeah, of course. Even though consistent data shows the opposite. Not that they're bad. They're not unreliable.
And there are some things that they do a little bit better. Yeah. But we'll get into that. I've also heard mo plastic, mo problems. Yes. Have heard that as well, especially pertaining to Glocks mostly and other polymer frame handguns. But also, there was a lot of guys that straight up didn't like any polymer.
Yeah, my grandfather was one of those guys. Unfortunately, God rest his soul. He told me back in the day, he was like, we used the M14s when I was in. We didn't have that nonsense plastic crap. And he was in Vietnam. Yeah, and his unit never even got the M16. All his dudes were M14s. So he really, and this is just based off him being there and probably around other guys who probably did use the M16.
Right.
He was very anti-M16. And then I've heard something as simple and stupid as aligning gaps in the gas rings will cause the gun to not work.
Well, more to it than that. And gas rings kind of align themselves. So
yeah, it's almost like the ring doesn't stay open the whole time.
Right.
So those of you who don't know, gas rings in the AR-15 are like they're very similar to piston rings, where they have a cutout. It's like a C, and when it is driven into the bore of the BCG, it compresses. It seals, so that gap closes. So having those three gaps aligned means nothing because they close up.
In fact, they shouldn't align.
They probably they do.
Well, they have to.
They have to, right?
Yeah.
But it's, and I heard that specifically in the Army over and over again. And I have argued to dudes to death. I'm talking about guys are getting violently angry that I'm telling them how wrong they are because they have no mechanical understanding
of the platform.
Yeah. It's just my sergeant told me this, his sergeant told him that, and it just goes back until the umpteenth of Vietnam.
When people think they're right, they get pretty angry.
Pretty angry, and it's hard. It's hard to tell them it's hard to tell them that the people they looked up to,
right, are wrong. Yeah,
right. And they're just wrong.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Now it doesn't mean that the AR-15 has always been 100% reliable.
No, and in fact, when they started off, they actually told guys that they didn't have to clean their rifles.
Yeah, that was part of what I got written down here was some government officials and some Army officials said it is a self-cleaning rifle.
Yeah, aluminum, space age material.
The future. So there was definitely some failures along the way, and we're gonna get into that here. Some of these failures were pretty silly, and some were not, like just a silly screw up. They were lack of understanding due to a lack of time to figure something out before it was pushed into service, right? So,
right.
One of the big things is the powder.
Right. That was a really big issue.
It was a big issue. So, in Vietnam, the M16 was designed to use 5.56 ammo loaded with IMR extruded powder, which is stick powder. But due to DuPont having supply quantity issues, they went with ball powder from Olin Mathiasen. I don't know how to pronounce
One
that.
Of the two.
One of the
two.
Close
enough.
And you would think not an issue. Ball powder has been around for decades at this point in time. It was used in World War II. I'm pretty sure World War I. I'm not 100% on that one, though, so I'm not going to stake my claim on it. But since they were having issues getting this IMR extruded powder, they switched to this ball powder, which led to a few issues.
Right.
One of which was, you have faster burn rate of the powder, which increased the rate of fire in full auto by 200 rounds per minute. It exceeded the rating that the M16 had for full auto fire.
Right.
It was designed for 700 to 800 rounds per minute, and it was pushing 900 with this new powder, which is not always a terrible thing.
No.
But it does accelerate wear.
Yeah, parts wear.
Parts wear is a serious thing.
Ammunition consumption as well.
Oh, they learned all about ammunition consumption in Vietnam, man.
Right. 20-round mags go pretty quick.
They actually did a study on soldiers who had actually fired their weapon in combat.
Mm-hmm.
Not most. I don't remember the exact statistic of it, but a large portion, more than I anticipated, of the people who fired their weapon in combat in Vietnam fired their weapon above their enemies' heads because they didn't want to shoot at the Vietnamese. They wanted to scare them off.
I've seen, and you have that with kind of, the drafting guys.
Big draft.
But you'll also, you'll note if you ever look into it, the amount of rounds per enemy casualty in Vietnam was pretty abysmal.
Yeah, that was
overall.
That was actually a big thing. It was just accuracy by volume in Vietnam. Right. It was so much.
Right.
Because you had M16s, you had M60s.
Yeah.
Which, pretty cool.
Belt fed.
I think we all agree M60s are pretty cool. And it was just a ton of just shooting into the jungles, which you can't always see your enemy. A lot of times you're just shooting in their general direction.
No, and that's the thing as well. If you're familiar with shooting 5.56 through brush, it doesn't do super well.
It is not fantastic at kicking brush.
No, and so I could see, if I was in Vietnam, maybe I'd go, maybe a 308 is a superior cartridge for doing exactly what I'm trying to do right now.
And that was something that a lot of people stated. They just preferred to use whatever 308 they had available to them.
Yeah.
Which at the time, if you're looking at a rifleman, it's an M14.
Right.
And that was really it. Which they also tried to make full auto. Didn't work out too well.
Yeah. You can see, shout out to the Forgotten Weapons YouTube channel over there. He's got some pretty good footage of him shooting an M14 of full auto, and how not fun he describes that to be. I
mean, I'd like to shoot it just to experience it.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think I'd want to own one.
Well, no, I mean 308's too expensive to be doing that.
Dude,
let's
it
be
is
real.
so expensive. Man, owning an actual 308 belt fed, like a registered one.
Yeah,
right
I would never use it.
Why would you ever shoot
Could never use it. Yeah.
It'd be awful.
Yeah.
Unless if you got that kind of money, to be fair.
Well, yeah, if you've got enough money to have transferable stuff, or if you're like an SOT, it probably doesn't matter all that much. But.
Yeah, we're not.
Nope.
That was a terrible noise. I don't know what that was. Awesome. That's in the audio now. Professional.
Yeah.
But I was trying to look up the data on that, where it was like how many riflemen fired above the heads, because there's a study on that, and I have to find it, but I didn't have it pulled up. There was a number where like 80 in 500 just would not fire their weapon when they actually got to combat.
Right.
So that's a different issue to talk about, I guess. I don't know if you call that cowardice or fear or whatever, but because I don't know, man. I've never been in war.
No,
been shot at once.
Yeah,
that was a uninteresting experience.
Guns pointed at me on the day-to-day.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
A lot.
Guns getting pointed at us is one thing. We got shot at when we were shooting out we were out in the wilderness shooting one time, and somebody started shooting back.
It's not good.
Not good.
Friendly fire.
But it was like one or two shots. We hopped in the truck and we ran. So obviously, I'm not saying it's combat.
Right.
But you definitely saw a different. What do you call it?
The willingness to fight.
Well, yeah, but I mean, a doctrine is what I'm thinking. The doctrine in Vietnam was so much different than what we see today or before then.
Yeah. Well, and it's been a while since we fought in a jungle.
Man, almost exactly since Vietnam, right?
Yeah. Well, Korea and some other.
Well, yeah, but I mean, do you consider?
I mean, it's pretty dense. I mean, I've never been to Vietnam.
I guess we don't consider conflicts the same as war, right?
No,
because there's been we were in Laos, we were in some other places that are jungle terrain, but not exactly war. Yeah. But so, anyways, back to the back to the reliability issues of the M16. The ball powder. The ball powder not only increased the rate of fire, it also increased the amount of fouling. The ball powder caused more fouling than IMR stick powder. And the chambers of these M16s were not chrome lined, even though they were supposed to be when they went into production. Was a specific, I think it was somebody who was underneath McNamara, said if they were supposed to be chrome lined, Eugene Stoner would have made them chrome lined. But he was going off of the design that was a proposed design, not a complete design that Eugene Stoner submitted, and everything was taken off of from that. So it's like miscommunication and arrogance. They just don't care to really look into.
That's really how we got to this point. Wrong powder, lack of chrome lining. It's really, it's pretty consistent throughout everything that the U.S. military does.
Yeah, I think it's consistent all the way through all U.S. military weapon production. It's just ignorance and like brute force, because you look at the adoption of the M14 over the FAL, and it was purely political. Right. It had nothing to do with superiority or a better platform.
You also, to be fair, you see that in other militaries that aren't just the U.S. It's
France,
the UK using the L85 SA-80 platform that doesn't work. It does not work.
Hey, they gave in. They finally asked the Germans for help.
Well, and then they swapped to the M16 anyway.
Yeah, but you look at like France with the FAMAS.
Yeah, but they're using the 416 now.
Yes, more Germans. Germans get a lot of contracts.
Yeah, it's almost like
it's almost like warfare is one of their favorite things.
Right.
I think it's just making money.
Probably. In firearms design, by God, they can. It doesn't matter. It'll cost something.
That Mauser family's living well.
They can make guns.
They've been around for a while. So no chrome line chambers, right? So the issue is you get fouling in a unchromed chamber, which in the jungle, this fouling leads to excessive corrosion because the jungle is extremely high humidity. We think we have it humid here because it's often around like 80%. Right. It's like 99 all the time in Vietnam.
You could basically swim. You can swim around everywhere in the air.
So you get heavily corroded chambers. This is where the Ford Assist comes from.
Right, because if your chamber is filled with crap, the thing that I want to do is just cram it around. Yeah, cram another round.
It just seems like the way to do it. You cram it in, and then when you cram it in and you fire it, it won't extract because the chamber's corroded, so you have to turn it into a bolt action. That was one of the biggest reports of these excessively worn and corroded firearms was they turn into bolt actions.
Right.
The forward assist does not help you there. This is why I get so mad about the forward assist, because the issue it was trying to fix, the forward assist didn't fix.
No, and it really shouldn't have been an issue anyway.
No.
Right? I mean, the Air Force said no forward assists, and then the Army said forward assists, and so Colt said, okay,
forward assist.
Forward assists.
So we need the forward assist to push the cartridges into the corroded chambers, which, once fired, will not extract or eject because of the corroded chambers.
Right.
Doesn't matter if you can get it in there if you can't get it out.
Yeah.
I guess a bolt action M16 is better than no gun.
I think that's a fair assessment.
But I feel like a 1911 on my hip is a little bit more useful than the bolt action M16.
Most guys weren't carrying sidearms anyway.
Fair enough.
So if you look at it, M16 is your only platform. I guess I kind of want it to work.
I guess that's all you got.
Even if it's like 10% working, right?
1% working. But, I don't know, man. That's rough.
You can avoid that entirely by, guess what? Cleaning the platform. Clean your guns, guys.
Yeah, so
please.
The government and Army officials dubbed this firearm a self-cleaning rifle. Early, this happened early. Some guys are going to be like, in 1978, they didn't say that. And it's like, well, I didn't say that.
Right.
I'm saying early in the introduction, they told soldiers this is a self-cleaning rifle. So they were not issued cleaning kits. In the jungles of Vietnam, with ball powder, which fouls worse than the stick powder, with non-chrome chambers. So it's just a recipe for disaster. All these issues compounded.
Yeah.
And just so if you guys are wondering, where did we learn all of this stuff? You can actually find the U.S. Army M16 Rifle Review Panel, which is a 90-page book from 1968. It's basically a primary source that you can go look at and get all this information that you're interested in.
Yeah, it's all open source.
It's all open source. It says like for U.S. Army use only, but that was from 1968. So now we know ball powder now is fine to use with the AR-15 platform. Which, again, I'm going to sidestep and say if you have a problem with me comparing the AR-15 to the M16, you are functionally retarded.
Yeah, I mean, one pin.
Yeah, it's one pin difference.
One pin difference.
So if you also have a problem with me saying that the AR-15 isn't a sporting rifle, you're stupid.
That's a pretty funny.
It's a weapon of war. I don't care that you don't like me calling it a weapon of war. That's what it is.
Yeah, really, that was what it was designed to do.
The AR-15 came first,
and the reason that you're able to own one is to do exactly what that firearm was designed to do.
It is meant to kill.
If you want to wage war on, deer, you can do that too.
You can do that too. We'll get to that.
You can do that too.
We'll get to that.
Or varmints.
Varmints, yes.
Varmint cartridge.
A lot of that,
obviously.
Yeah. So that's some of the stuff we've went over is the powder issues, the early production issues. Not to mention SAMI specs were just getting started in the I think it was the 60s or 70s.
Something, right? Yeah, somewhere around there.
SAMI specs. So like all this stuff comes together. This is a brand new introduction of a relatively new design, not entirely new. Direct impingement.
No,
it's not the first one.
No,
but
you have other examples like the MOS 36
or the was it the Hakim?
No, that's piston.
Oh, that's
short
piston.
gas piston.
Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of the other one.
The French rifle.
Okay,
MOS 36 or MOS 38.
Yeah.
MOS 38 is a machine gun.
So it's not we cannot directly compare AR-15s that are made now to AR-15s made in the 60s because they're not the same.
No.
When it comes to production standards, when it comes to quality of components, when it comes to everything we've learned in how many years is that? 50-something years?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
The standardization of parts, gas tube lengths, gas port sizes.
Everything. Ball powder is now still the most common military ammunition propellant.
Well, and see, while we're talking about the ammo, one of the most common things that is wrong with a rifle, what is it?
What's wrong?
Bad ammo.
What do you mean that's wrong with a rifle? Oh, yeah.
Bad ammo.
Like a rifle comes in for repair saying it doesn't work.
In general.
Yeah.
Right? And they're using, just crap Chinese steel case or Russian steel case.
Are you calling out Norinco live? Are
you
name dropping?
At Norinco.
At Norinco. Bad ammo.
Call me. I'll help you out.
If Norinco called you, that would be the best thing that's ever happened to you.
It probably would.
You got to think about that kind of conversation.
I'll be that guy. That's how I'd open every podcast. Hi, my name's Wesley. Norinco called me on my phone.
Norinco called me on my phone. But you got to call him. You got to answer him like an Asian accent. Hello?
That's yeah. I don't know about that one.
I think it'd be funny.
Well, we can't import their ammo anymore.
That's why that's even funnier though.
Yeah.
You just laugh. Well, we laugh at them, but we kind of want the cheap ammo sometimes.
Yeah, but
I don't know if I want Norinco cheap.
No, I don't want Norinco.
But some Russian cheap.
PMC is cheapest I go.
Yeah, fair. I've been known to shoot wolf in my time.
Yeah. Well, and when you get a firearm that is okay to run that.
Yeah.
But if you stack all of your tolerances against each other and then try to run the cheapest thing that you can possibly get your hand on,
that's a good segue into.
It's not going to work.
Ammo, like you said, ammo issues. So when someone brings in the cheapest $500 AR they could find,
right, and somebody slapped it together in their basement without any love nor care nor time to care, you run into some issues.
Yeah, when someone comes to me like, I built this rifle, it doesn't work, I'm thinking about switching to an AK. It's like, well, first of all, let's try to get this thing put together properly before we go switching entire platforms.
So you're telling me that if my gas tube is not aligned correctly and it feels like there's gravel in my bolt carrier group, that it won't run Tula?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm also saying if you fire 5,000 rounds of lacquered steel case and it starts to slow down, well, duh.
You
might need to clean the rifle.
You're telling me that I need to clean my gun?
Yeah, that's a thing that happens.
So we're back there to it.
Cleaning the gun's pretty important.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying that, well, I don't have to clean my AK or my Glock. And it's like, well, you don't actually. You should clean your Glock.
Yeah.
You should clean your Glock.
You should.
I'm not saying every 20 rounds. I am saying maybe less than every 5,000.
Especially if you carry it.
Yeah.
You should carry a real. I mean, your gun should never basically be 100% clean. If it's 100% clean, you don't shoot enough.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm saying like a basic wipe down now and then. Like
right.
I fired, I think, 2,000 rounds with my carry gun that was also my competition gun.
Right.
And all I would do, I would never deep clean it. All I would do is right before a competition, I would open it up. I would wipe the slide down so I could put some more lube on it, and I would put it back together.
That's basically all you need to do, except every like 5 or 10K.
Yeah, I would say less than 5 for your carry pistol. I would honestly prefer you actually clean it at least every 2, but we're getting in the weeds here.
Right.
Ammo issues are, like Wesley said, a big issue across the board where someone grabs the cheapest junk they can find and then says their weapon doesn't work. Well, I'm not saying that most guns shouldn't be able to run the cheap stuff, but how cheap are we talking? Are we talking like the cheap stuff or the stuff Wesley pulls off the bottom of the range that is very questionable?
I pick a lot of range ammo up. Some of it works, some of it doesn't.
Yeah.
But you can definitely feel the difference. Like if you loaded every other round with good like military Lake City brass ammo and you're shooting like especially like the Wolf Seal case, you can feel the difference in recoil.
There's a noticeable difference. And you can see the gas difference suppressed. Like you can see the difference shooting the steel case underloaded stuff with compared to 193 or 855 or A1, stuff like that. So are you using proper ammo? And I'm not saying you need to go out and buy Black Hills.
No.
Everything. I mean, I would love 10,000 rounds of Black Hills.
Right. Who wouldn't?
Call me.
I'd take them. Call me too.
But I mean, use relatively good ammo. Now we're going to go into the actual reasons that most people nowadays have issues. In my opinion, what I see is more common with AR-15s that don't work. Gas block isn't aligned.
That's a big one.
Gas tube isn't installed properly.
Those
are the two number one things I see.
Yeah, and I feel like the gas block, number one with that is probably not having a pinned gas block, or just a lack of care installing it. But if you have a pin gas block,
if you didn't align it correctly the first time, then it's not aligned.
Right. But if you have a pin gas block, that pin is drilled correctly by someone that knows what they're doing, then it literally can't be misaligned.
It can't be misaligned. So this happened when the local SWAT team got new rifles built.
No, I mean they were factory.
Okay, factory rifles, but they changed it. That's what it was. They changed out the gas blocks. I recommended they dimple their barrels so that the set screws would have somewhere to rest and the gas blocks wouldn't walk off. And they denied it. Yep. I mean, it wasn't like a heated exchange. They just said, no, it's okay. We'll be okay. We never had an issue before. And then about 2 months later, they come back and 2 of their rifles had their gas blocks start walking off. Now, these were rock-setted screws, but they are shot suppressed, and they actually train pretty often.
Yeah,
which is impressive for a local SWAT team.
So I mean, rock-set is pretty.
Rock-set's good, but vibration's going to do what vibration's going to do.
Right, and a mixture of heat.
And it's skating across metal. It doesn't even have to loosen is a thing. Every single time it shoots and it vibrates, it allows for these things to basically stop touching for a micro fractional of a second because of the vibration. So they can skate across. They weren't like loose. They had just unaligned themselves. Yeah. So we get the set screws. I dimpled all 14 of their guns, and now all their gas blocks all sit properly.
Yeah, it's been several months, and they've kept up shooting the exact same amount. And
I think it's been close to a year, honestly, since I did all those. So I really think that it's one of those things where if it's installed properly or built properly, as it's supposed to be, like the chrome-lined chambers, things work like they're. So it's almost like when it's done right, it works. Shocker.
And that's, looking at it today with the ability for you to go out and buy whatever you want and how cheap it is to put together. I mean, you can put together an AR-15 today. I'm not saying you should, for like $300.
You can do it.
Yeah.
Not saying it's all going to work.
No.
But just like every other platform in the world, M14's included.
Right.
If components are subpar, then the platform doesn't work. And people act like, well, I should be able to have an AR-15 that works for $300. Well, no, you can have an AR-15 or you can have an AR-15 that works.
Right.
And it's not even that big of a difference.
No.
Like, honest to God, you can get a working AR-15 that I would say works enough for you to take to the range on a regular basis and maybe put in the truck.
Right.
Maybe not. For $600.
Yeah.
That's doable.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it should be your primary bet my life on a rifle.
No, but if you just want a rifle that works, you don't want to run that many rounds through it. You don't want to take it out there and, put that several thousand rounds per month. You just want to.
That's the thing. There are people that are going to be listening to this saying, well, I want to be able to shoot 40,000 rounds through my rifle before it has malfunction. First of all, you and I both know you're not doing that.
No, and if you are, if you can afford 40,000 rounds to shoot through a barrel, you can probably afford another barrel.
You can probably afford a better gun.
Or
just in general,
that,
right?
Yeah,
so I don't understand what people like. There's just like internet anonymity where you can just say things without someone calling you on it.
Right.
Like, I know you're not shooting 40,000 rounds through your gun in 20 years, much less 1 year.
Right. Your PSA may see 500 rounds a month.
Yes. I had some guy. I called a guy out on that. He was like, "Well, my PSA is just as good as that down defense in the wall," and I'm not a down defense shill, nor am I super 100% anti PSA. A little bit anti PSA, but not 100%.
They do good things.
They do some good things. And I'm okay saying that. But I was like, "Are you really think they're the same? Like they're the same quality?" He's like, "Yeah, I've been to a couple classes." I was like, "Which classes?" And I was thinking he was gonna talk about going to some serious 2-day carbine courses.
Right.
And it was like a 3-hour, 50-yard and in carbine course that was really working on doubles, stuff like that.
Right.
And it's like, man, that's not a. I guess it's a class.
That's a class, but it's not like
you didn't run it hard.
Yeah, you're not pushing the platform to its limit.
Yeah, you didn't go out there and fire 1,000 rounds in a day.
Right.
While you're, it's just different stuff, right? So, I've been to classes. I've been to 3-day rifle classes where I saw, what was the cheapest one I saw? I'm trying to think what the cheapest rifle I saw there. It was either one of the Saints or.
Which is those aren't cheap rifles, not anymore.
Well, the Victors aren't. I think the regular Saints are a little bit cheaper.
I mean, they're like $900.
They're less than BCMs.
Yeah, but a lot of things are less than BCMs. Well, you put together a complete arrow gun.
I did see an arrow at the class too, but I saw some rifles that were not $2,000 builds. Right. Is what I'm saying, and they ran all weekend.
Right.
They work, man. When they're built properly, they work, and people misunderstand things being put together improperly or improper quality of components for the system is bad.
And lube.
God almighty, they just don't use it.
No.
People just don't use lubricant.
You don't need to lube. You don't need to use
don't need it.
Just buy like a titanium nitride bulk carrier group, one of the slick ones.
Yeah. Ultra Lubris, they call it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Because guess what, guys? The lubricity, the whole our finish is slick, therefore it doesn't need as much lube.
It's actually worse.
It displaces lubricant and doesn't actually allow the lubricant to do what it's supposed to do. So, funnily enough, the finishes that people actually don't like to get, like phosphate.
That's a big one.
Or, Lord help me, the parkerized.
Yeah.
Both of those finishes are porous.
Yeah.
So they actually absorb lubricant and keep that lubricant there longer.
Right.
And one of the most important things is just make sure the inner bore of your BCGs are chrome lined.
Efficient.
And efficient, yeah.
Chrome lined and efficient. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
So if you get one that doesn't have any chrome on the inside, well, you're going to have other issues.
Right. Because it's hard. It's hard to get in there too.
Yeah.
To really actually clean that.
Yeah. Good luck.
Yeah.
I mean, on a regular basis or a consistent basis of actually getting there and cleaning off the hard baked carbon that is now changing the inner dimensions of your BCG.
Right.
Yeah. I just get good parts. Like just get good parts. That's all it takes. And you don't have to get a $3,000 rifle. You can.
Yeah. I mean, you don't really have to spend that much money on it either. Yeah, I mean, like Sun's bolt carrier group, lifetime warranty. Not a shield. They don't give me anything.
They don't give me anything at
all. But I've got one of those. I've got a little over 10K rounds on that BCG right now, and the only thing that
really?
I think so.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I mean, I don't count very much, but I do have about that much. And the only thing that I've replaced is gas rings.
I've only got like 12. Well, the people who watch the video know I've only got between 11 and 12, maybe between 1,000 and 12.
Yeah.
On my entire rifle, and that BCG's been in that rifle since I put it together. So
yeah,
but run.
I'm just bad with money.
How many times? Okay, so you got. Let's just say you've got, and this is related. So those of you who are getting like bored because we're off topic, we're not anymore. How many? You said you got around 10,000, give or take.
Yeah.
Let's give or take 1,000.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Okay. Fine.
How many times have you had to change the gas rings?
Once.
So I often hear every 3,000 to 5,000 rounds, you should change your gas rings. I have found that to be pretty true.
I've heard that, but I was cleaning it for the match, the first match that I went to, and I put my bolt face down on the table, and it just collapsed just immediately. No resistance.
Clapped out, baby.
Yeah, and I was like, that's not the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. So you want to do maintenance, right? You want, like I said, clean it every once in a while. Give it some cleanings, and then change your gas rings. And then occasionally change your extractor springs.
Right. You need to be, if you do not clean your rifle, that's fine. Well, it's not great.
Oh, I know dudes that just straight up do not clean their rifles, but their rifles are so expensive and made with the best quality products imaginable, and they're literally covered with lubricant every time they're used. They just run.
Right. Well, and that's kind of what I've been doing. Even suppressed is, if you have one of those coatings that absorbs that oil, it's going to do better, because that suppressor, especially if you're running one, it blows pretty much everything out of your injection board. Lube will not stay in there unless, with those coatings, it's just going to run out. It's just going to blow out, and you're not going to have lube on anything. It's going to get really dry, and you're just not going to have a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, you want some lubricant, guys, because people don't understand this. Why should my gun need lubricant? Well, why does your engine in your car need lubricant?
Right.
Because metal parts rubbing against each other wear.
It's bad.
It's bad. They're increased drag, increased friction. That increased friction and drag increases wear and the removal of metal from itself over time. So if you lubricate it, it doesn't happen as bad.
Parts wear, it slows down your bolt carrier group.
Yeah, that's why I said increases friction.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But that is, it makes your gun not work. Yes. Basically, you'll have all kinds of varying issues: failures to feed, failures to extract, failures to eject.
Also, get good mags. Like, this is another thing people don't realize. Like, I've had lots of people come in with. I'm guilty of this. I have Gen 1 PMags, right? I mean, I still have them.
They're okay.
They're okay, but I'm saying I'm guilty of it because I've seen people come in with Gen 1 PMags that are beat to crap, worse than mine.
Number yours, replace them.
Yeah. I would say keep up with your mags. If you start noticing an issue with your AR-15 and you're not sure what's causing it,
buy new
switch mags and mark the one that you had issues with and see if it happens with any of your other mags.
Yeah.
Make sure they're good mags. Like, don't switch from one junk mag to another junk mag. Oftentimes you have magazine issues. I know everyone likes the new Lancers right now. Yeah. I've also been seeing conflicting reports of the Lancers, so I'm not ready to say anything on them yet.
No, I mean, I've got a couple. I like them. I think they look really good.
They look fantastic. They're the best looking mag on the market.
Well, and to a certain extent, that's all that matters.
Yeah. Wesley is about the vibes.
I'm about the vibe.
But I'm a big fan of PMags. They're classic. They run. I've never had issues with non-beat to crap PMags.
Right.
Meaning the feed lips aren't cracked. I haven't destroyed them. Gen 1, 2, and 3, I've had good results out of all of them.
Right.
I don't recommend going and getting Gen 1s if I were you, because they're old.
Yeah, I mean, there are generational improvements for a reason.
Yes, there are. Gen 2s are the oldest I would go. Now, if you did find an original first generation 20-rounder,
ooh,
you should buy that.
Yeah, you should buy it.
Send it to me.
But yes.
Just send me the Gen 1 20-rounder that you've got, because I want it, and I'm going to rock it, and it's going to look phenomenal.
Right.
But and I'll know it's Gen 1 if it's straight.
Yeah, straight. Not the. I mean, the curved ones look good too.
The curved one look like I can get curved ones.
Yeah.
I have curved ones.
Yeah.
I want the straight one because it looks phenomenal.
But it
doesn't work.
No, they don't.
They don't work well.
But looking at, if you look at some magazines, even the Lancers, like they're like double the cost of a Gen 2 PMag right now.
Yeah.
$25, right?
I would just buy like 10 Gen 2 PMags.
Just buy PMags. Don't buy the expensive. Don't buy drums. Don't buy anything stupid.
Nope.
PMags, 30 round PMags, because they work. They're like $9 to $14, something like that, right?
Yep.
Why buy the expensive ones that don't work when the good ones are $12?
And why? And I hear a lot of guys saying, "Well, I was in the Army, so I only like to use GI mags." And GI mags can work.
Yeah.
But I always said, well, make sure when you get a GI mag to look for the orange followers.
Right.
Because the green followers typically were a non-anti-tilt follower.
Right.
Meaning you would have issues as they got wore out. The followers would tend to tilt and cause feeding issues. I get so many dudes like, mine green follower never have. Okay, bro, I'm not trying to insult your family lineage. I'm just saying that I know also from the Army that the green followers have issues and the orange ones don't, typically.
Again, I mean, there's a reason why there's generational changes.
Yeah, people just don't understand that when they change things for a reason, normally it's a good reason.
Yeah.
Not all the time.
No, not
the
all
government
the time.
is not.
No, the government is
good at making
not,
good decisions.
No. But
some magazines, gas rings, and we talk about lubricant, we talk about propellants and ammo. Guys, that's about it.
Right.
I'm not telling you to go buy a $3,000 rifle like us. I'm just saying, if you buy a decent one, it will work, and you will be pleased.
Decent one, good magazine.
Because look at how much it costs to run a good AK.
Yeah,
genuinely, right now.
Like, I mean, not like a Century Arms Visca. Like
not an Inner Arm.
Zastava
What's
is
the
like
cheapest
the cheapest.
What do you think is the cheapest you could get in for an AK that runs well and is modular?
Ooh, so that's the thing is like those Zastava is about the cheapest that I'd recommend.
Yeah.
And if you want the Zastava that comes like the Zenitco, I mean, it's not Zenitco, but the Zenitco looking parts, like a detachable, or not a detachable, but a adjustable folding stock, an M-LOK or Picatinny rail handguard.
A rail dust cover, maybe?
No, they don't do I don't think they do a rifle with a rail dust cover. It's just a side mount. You're looking at like $1,200.
Yeah. And I guarantee you can get an AR-15 that you could bet your life on for $1,000.
Yeah. Even, I mean, like the Ruger.
Yeah.
The Ruger NPR is like you can get one for less than $900.
Yeah, my only issue with the Rugers, and this is not an issue specific to Ruger, it's just something I've noticed in my personal experience more than one occasion, 2 or 3 occasions, where I grabbed one off the wall and the muzzle device was hand loose, and the second one was a gas block that wasn't tightened down from the factory. So it's just a quality control issue that could happen to anybody.
Right.
Like guys, we've seen quality control issues out of LMT in the past year. So like the price is not what's causing the quality control issues.
No.
Quality control is a person thing, not a production thing.
Right. Maybe the QC guy's just having a bad day.
Yeah, QC guy could have missed something, obviously. Like I bought my wife a Ruger back in the day.
Right.
An AR-556, and is it SR or AR? Which one's the non-pistol?
AR-556.
AR-556.
Yeah.
And we took out to the range that day, and it was a single shot. I couldn't figure out why. Because, I mean, I was like, man, I just bought this. What ammo are we using? I'm over here looking at the ammo. Hold on a second. Gas block's just literally hanging on at the end of the handguard.
Right. So another thing, right? I mean, so don't chase a $1,000 rifle that has all of the features that you want it to have.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. It's like this is a gun that you can work on.
Right.
You can do things to it.
And so if you're going back to the pin gas blocks, a lot of companies won't do a pin gas block unless it's a front sight post.
Yeah.
And that's what Ruger does. Not calling them out, but they do dimple their gas blocks, but it's not pinned unless you get the triangle front sight post.
And I can't tell if that's just trying to keep production costs low or because they just don't think people care. Or want it. Like, because Geisley, I think, pins theirs on the Super Duties.
Geisley pins everything.
That's Geisley for you.
Well,
I'm also not a shill for Geisley. Him and I today were talking about their gas blocks, and I was like, "That's Geisley."
Some of the other ones,
they call everything bomb-proof and super this, and super that,
yeah, which is super stupid.
It is. They just don't want their stuff to look bad,
right?
And I think that's good for a company to have. Is you don't want your product to hit the shelves and have issues,
right? Sig,
Sig. Calling you out, Sig. Bro, the Sig people on Instagram get so salty with me every time I call their stuff out.
Well, and so I mean,
sometimes it's just memes, guys.
Even looking at their AR-15s, they don't really do like an entry level one anymore. They don't do anything with.
Yeah, that didn't last long at all, did it?
No. Well, I mean, SIG's not. They're not trying to be entry level.
They're not. They don't even care.
But even their like base level stuff, the M400 Tread, those are coming with pin gas blocks that look very similar to the Geisley's.
I mean, I'm fine with it. I don't hate SIG. People think I hate SIG, but really, what's happening is people get upset because I have made a joke about the thing that they spent money on, and they don't like regretting what they spent money on.
Yeah, they make that entire thing their personality.
It's not dude. Glock people. I'm throwing shade at everyone today, man.
I am the Glock person.
CZ people, that's me.
CZ people. That's
for real though. Not even a joke. Like they really are. And CZ people are like, you have to get a CZ.
Yeah.
It has to be some sort of the 75 platform.
Right.
Which is a great platform.
It's great platform.
The P10C.
It's dropped a lot. That's another platform that's dropped a lot of bodies.
Bodies have fallen.
And everybody in Europe pretty much is used to CZ75 or derivative.
Because why wouldn't you? I mean, out of all the European designs of that time frame, what else would you choose?
Pretty much, yeah.
Nothing.
You're right.
There's not. I can't think of a single handgun that came out of Europe that if I was a European police department,
it's basically the AR-15
it is.
Of its time period. Just any military law enforcement handgun.
That was the 70s. So what about the USPs? Because those are also...
So they still had some kind of teething issues.
You want to talk about people who make their firearm their personality?
HK guys. I can't believe we forgot about them. We went to CZ guys first.
Before HK guys. Oh, I love you guys, but you are animals.
Yeah.
You are absolute animals. And you're all rich.
Yeah.
You're all rich.
You've all got all of them. Right?
Yeah.
You've got a USP, you've got an MP5.
They have every USP.
Yeah. The 40, the really stupid long one, N40.
The flashlight made just for it.
Yeah. Proprietary rails are not okay.
No, not okay.
They're not okay.
God, dude, HK. I'm sorry, guys. We got so sidetracked. But anyways, the AR-15 is reliable. Okay, I know it sounded like we threw in caveats. Well, it's reliable if.
But that's everything.
That's everything. That's AKs. That is... God, anything. The machine guns that we use, the FN machine guns, the Browning machine guns, they're all reliable if. It's all if, because machines stop working when a factor has gone wrong. Your engine in your car will stop working if you don't change the oil and you hit 30, or let's see.
Supposed to change it every like 10,000 miles.
No, it's every 3. That's the average.
Shit.
3. It's 3,000 miles.
Whoops.
And then certain vehicles with certain oils say 5 to 7. Some diesel trucks say 10. Right. So typically the 10 is more towards the diesel trucks.
Right.
And look, if you're looking at me right now and you're saying, but my bottle I use says every 15,000 miles, you are going to regret that. Trust me. That is our marketing technique. They're throwing some chemicals in there, sprinkling it in there like the salt on the dude's forearm, and it's not going to work out the way you want it to. I recommend 3 to 5. Okay? 3 to 5. I'm just a lowly gunsmith, not a professional mechanic.
Mechanic tips with T-Bar Gunworks.
But I highly recommend 3 to 5 if you're driving a regular car.
New series on YouTube coming shortly.
We should just make a silent video of me changing my oil.
Yep.
But anyways, when you don't change it out after a certain period of time, that oil turns into sludge, and that sludge creates so much friction because your engine isn't lubricated that it locks up. It seizes up, and it's done. You need a new engine. Like, it just happens. My brother did it. I've known multiple females that did it. And it's just one of those things. Like, what was wrong with the engine? The engine was fine, dude. This was a great engine until you seized it.
Until you did the one thing that you weren't.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one
of the many things.
Yeah.
So it's always like, this engine is good if you do the maintenance. This engine is good if you don't pour water in the oil fill cap thing.
Yeah, don't.
Man, that's not gonna.
I mean, that's another thing. Don't use WD-40 as your lubricant.
Oh my God, I don't want to talk about it. I don't even want to.
That's where we're gonna. Just don't. It doesn't matter why not. Just don't.
I don't care what your grandpa said. Don't use WD-40. You're wrong.
Or liquid wrench. Buy something, and don't use
brake cleaner, Eric.
Just dip your whole rifle in hops. Call it a day. Call it a day.
No.
Use something dedicated, break free. Sons of Liberty Gunworks Spec 76 is one that we've.
Man, we're gonna do a review on that.
We're gonna do a review.
We're gonna do a review on that. That's the first oil where I was like,
I have been using that for a lot recently.
I'm interested in it. I've been using it for a little while. I got him started on it, and now Mark Smith's wanting to check it out.
Yeah, some of the guys at work have also picked up bottles of that.
Because I've been using Lucas forever, the Lucas Extreme Gun Oil on my handgun
also
for a while. It's also very good lubricant, but it doesn't stay.
No.
It goes away pretty quick, which is fine because I would just put it on before the next match.
Right.
You know? So, guys, AR-15s are reliable, just like AKs are reliable, just like the 416 is reliable if you do the maintenance, if you don't buy the cheapest parts you could find, if you don't find the cheapest rusted out ammo you can find.
Right. And it doesn't matter, even the price point, of the rifle. I mean, it's going to give you a longer.
Yeah.
In most cases between doing that. But even if you take a 416, which, is piston guns, it's, it's a little bit different. But if
some guys are like, the 416 is an AR-15.
Yeah. Well,
screw you.
A little bit, but not much. If you take that and you run it like you're not supposed to, and you don't upkeep that, and you don't change the parts that you're supposed to change that are consumable, or you give it a bad magazine, like they will not work from Gen 2 magazines. Yep. They won't pick up rounds from them. And so that's, number one, magazine-related issue, right? So if you have that and you don't do what you're supposed to do with it, it's not going to work.
Yep, and you don't need a forward assist.
I can hear. Sorry, there's somebody outside yelling at you right now.
He's a little salty. I think he just got back from his multiple nighttime deployments.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, guys. We're very much talking about the civilian market right now, despite the fact that we brought up the U.S. military in Vietnam. I don't think anybody listening to this who is going to be building or buying their own personal use AR-15 will then be using it in nighttime anti-terrorist attacks.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know what the ratio of that would be.
Where do you live? Portland?
But that's not even anti-terrorism. That's just pro-patriotism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, guys, we're not in combat. And even then, I would absolutely take my rifle to combat if I had to.
I would, too.
And we know
absolutely.
You would.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I want to say some things about yours, but we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Quad rails.
Just do not feel like the AR-15 is not reliable. Do not feel like you have to buy a $5,000 rifle. I keep going up in the,
you don't need
max.
I mean, so we both have very expensive rifles. You've seen his. You might see mine in the next video. Maybe. Potentially.
And if you're listening to this a year later, well, it was the next video after we recorded this.
It was literally the next video.
We said hint, and then we just dropped it. But so new GP rifle video coming soon, TM.
But it's there's an acceptable level of quality that you can't go cheaper than that if you want a rifle to do everything with.
Yep. I honestly, and I'm pretty comfortable saying that in 2023, since things have changed, like it's not 2015 anymore. In 2023, I genuinely think $600 to $900 is a range that you could get a
without
an optic. Yes, without optic, just the rifle
or other kit.
Yeah, no fancy, no suppressor, no.
Not even a light setup.
Extra, really. No light setup, no fancy new different hanger that you didn't put on there from the factory. Just a factory rifle, $600 to $900. And you can get away with a rifle that you could probably trust.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't think. I don't want to bring up specific examples.
No. Well, yeah, because everything is. People are going to say we're shilling for brands.
I know. Someone's going to be like, "Well, that dude's wearing a Halo Strategic hat. He's a shill."
This
is just my clothes. This is just my clothes. I just wear things. I don't have unbranded clothes to wear to the videos.
But yeah, somewhere in that price. There's some ones that are better than others, but. There's no free lunch.
There is no free lunch. So, yeah, if you had the money to drop on a fully built Geisley or a fully built Daniel or a fully built BCM
but also there's
Hodge.
diminishing returns.
Yeah, there is diminishing returns.
Because can you standing outshoot a Hodge barrel? Can you outshoot a PSA barrel?
Most people cannot outshoot any barrel.
Even bench rested, you probably can't. Non-free floated, you probably can't outshoot a Freedom barrel.
No, So what he's talking about, guys, and for those of you who are kind of new to this, he's saying, can you outshoot it in accuracy? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So most times the gun is more accurate than the shooter. So people will complain.
That's not always the case.
No, but it's most of the time.
But if you don't do your due diligence.
Yeah, most of the time.
It definitely is.
Most of the time, the people complaining about their accuracy, if you were to vice the gun in a lead sled and just shoot, the group would be a lot better than what the person did because of all the human factors going into the gun. Naturally. So, yes, there is a point of diminishing returns where the $10,000 AR-15 probably doesn't do much more than the $2,000 AR-15.
Right. Well, I mean, you get some features.
You get features, but is it, I mean, like, for $10,000, it better just find the enemy, shoot the enemy for me without me lifting a finger.
Get one of those vortex scopes that has the
it needs to be like a drone.
Yeah.
But these are things that you can get into these for relatively cheap. I wouldn't trust a $500 AR-15 in my life.
No.
I also wouldn't trust a $300 pistol with my life.
Right. I mean, people go, if a Glock works for $500.
Yeah.
Why doesn't my $500 rifle why isn't that okay?
That's a good point though. It's well, these are not the same platform.
No, they're not the same platform.
There's a lot more components that go into the AR-15.
And it's like, if you look at a Glock barrel, what a Glock barrel costs, and you look what an AR-15, a good similar quality AR-15 barrel costs.
Even then, it still isn't that much money. You can get good barrels for between $180 and like $225.
Yeah, really. And you can get more for a little bit more than that too. More gooder. But going back to it, even if you have a cheap gun, right? Let's say you buy a cheap gun, you want to, beat it to death because it will die eventually.
Yes, it will.
You want to buy that rifle, you want to get it, and you want to understand it, and you want to maybe you're balling on a budget, right? And that's all you got. Well, that's fine. You can take that and you can spend money on ammo that maybe if you buy an LMT, you won't have money left over for an optic or ammo, and make yourself the weapon.
Make yourself the
weapon.
But here's the thing. Even then, like let's say you bought a $500 AR-15.
Right.
You could spend $300 on a barrel and a BCG.
Right.
That are high quality, and you just severely upgraded your firearm.
People can argue. Some would argue. I might be some that those components are the only two components that really and truly matter.
You might be one that. I think that's a whole nother episode idea right there.
That might be.
But because I agree that they're the most important. I don't think they're the only ones that matter.
No, I don't think so either.
But they are definitely the most important. BCG and barrel. If you had to invest in I want to save money where I can.
Right.
Man, instead of buying a $1,000 rifle, maybe you buy a $500 rifle and you just save $200 once you change the barrel and BCG out.
PSA receivers for like $30.
I didn't chill for that. But I did say that. I also won't hard disagree.
No. But here, we've been there. Balling on a budget.
Yeah, the budget badger.
The budget
good old
badger.
days, baby.
But that was still Aero.
It was still Aero. It wasn't too low.
It was a 300 blackout build that yours truly did with some Q parts, the Q parts that matter.
I used some real Q parts, the barrel and the barrel nut and the gas
barrel of the barrel nut and the handguard and the charging handle and then everything else was.
I got the charging handle for free though.
Aero Precision. Oh, thanks Q. What's his name? Kevin?
Kevin's QC guy screwed up and sent me the wrong part, and then just decided to let me keep it. But anyways, we've run a little long, guys. What's the lesson of today's story?
What's the lesson? ARs don't suck.
ARs don't suck. ARs are reliable. Your grandpa was a FUD. I'm sorry. My grandpa was also a FUD. It's okay. It doesn't mean we hate them. It just means they're ill-informed on things. Just like a lot of people in Portland are ill-informed on everything in life.
I feel like our lesson learned here is get out there. Form your own opinions.
That is a fact. Form your own opinions.
If you think your AR is bad or an AR is bad, buy a good one and then try and break it.
Yeah.
While doing what you're supposed to do with said rifle. That's a good point, though.
Seriously, if you think they suck, put your money where your mouth is.
Right.
Go buy a, I don't know, go buy a BCM. BCM.
They
and
got
take
a deal
it to
right
as many
now.
classes as you can and shoot as many rounds as you can at those classes, at matches.
Right.
Actually use it like a gun and see what happens.
They've got a deal right now. This is going to date the video.
Yeah,
buy an upper, you get a free bolt kicker. If you're watching this now, go do that. It's a good deal.
I don't know if we can say that. I guess we can.
Oh, well, they're not doing that.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe make your own decisions. Maybe Google your own coupon codes.
But yeah, seriously.
Yeah, that's what it is. I've been using my AR. I've been using ARs forever, but I've been using mine as much as I can.
Right.
And it has not let me down once. So
no,
even for things it's not meant to do.
Right. Right.
And I think Wesley feels the same about his rifle.
I do. And we'll get to that.
Yeah, especially since he started getting into competition.
Yeah.
And he's been really enjoying that.
Yep.
Wesley, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I hope you guys like Skim Milk. He's going to be around a little more often. And I'm glad to finally get some stuff out. New video will be releasing relatively soon. Not this week, I don't think, but relatively soon.
Shortly.
And it is not like the old school Josh where I said relatively soon and I meant a year from now.
No.
I mean like this month.
I'm going to light a fire.
I hope he does, man. I need.
This is going to be a thing.
It's going to be a thing?
Yep.
Let's make it happen.
Guys,
please take care. Thank you so much for listening and or watching. If you are on Rumble or YouTube, make sure you subscribe. You guys have been subscribing like crazy. We really appreciate it. If you're on the podcast sites, make sure you leave a review. It greatly appreciates us, helps us bump us up in the algorithm. Follow us at TBR Gunworks on Instagram, YouTube, Rumble, podcast sites, Facebook, all the social medias. And remember that every gun law is an infringement.
That's true.
Take care.
See ya.